Wholesale or retail? Wholesale or retail? Those are two words I wanted to talk about today. Two different concepts that I wanted to share with you today, because there's a lot of agents out there that I see that sometimes don't know the difference between the two, or don't even know that there's an option between the two. And I wanted to share with you a recent story. My name is Willie Miranda with the Ultimate Real Estate Success Blueprint. On a little walk here on a Saturday morning. It's just got done raining and there's a lot of bugs out, so I'm going to try to get through this without getting attacked. But with that being said, a few weeks ago I got called in. One of my agents said one of my clients called me and her daughter's getting divorced. They've been going through a divorce for a couple of years now, and the last piece of the divorce is getting rid of their home, which is really their only asset. Had a couple kids involved, and it was kind of a divorce situation where they weren't really speaking. They were just going through their attorneys. So she said, I never, been in this situation. Would you mind coming with me? And I said, yeah, no problem. She went ahead and did the CMA, did a great job pulling up all the comps for the last year. She pulled up RPR, she pulled up Zillow, she pulled up, Realtor, all the information you could imagine she had. She was well prepared. So we go to the property, pull up, and sure enough, lack of pride of ownership, right? The grass is overgrown, tiles are missing off the roof. There's 3 different types of shingles on. There's broken windows. There's writing on the side of the house. The driveway's beat up. The landscaping's all overgrown. And that's just pulling up to the property. So she said, oh, geez, these comparables I ran are probably not gonna be good because this house looks terrible. And I says, well, let's take a look. Let's go inside. So we meet the homeowner. The other homeowner pulls up. So we have both the decision makers there at the property. And we go in. We take a look at the house. So we get our notebook out. We start going through the property. And sure enough, the inside is just as worse as the outside. All right, you have things that are not working in the house. The kitchen is, filled with dishes, garbage in the kitchen, garbage all over the home. It just wasn't a good look. It wasn't a good look, and it wasn't something that the other seller, which hadn't been there, has seen in a while, and was very disappointed that the house was not in good condition when we got there. Kind of embarrassed, she was, right? So we go through the property, and I'm taking some notes, again, keeping them to myself, and making sure that this guy runs like 20 miles a day, I think. I see him all the time. He's like Forrest Gump. Anyway, going back, I digress. So anyway, we go through the whole property. I write down all the notes, and again, I could start beating things up. They have light fixtures that are missing. There's writing all on the walls. There's spilt paint on the hardwood floors. There's no rhyme or reason for the type of furniture that they have in there. Missing pieces. Just was just a disaster. So we get outside and walk through everything, and a question comes up. So what do you think? What do you think we can get for this property? So I says, well, tell me a little bit about what your time frame is. When would you like to be out of it by? Well, we like to be done and as quick as possible. Can we sell it in 30 days? I said, you can. I said, there's always, listen, every house sells for the right price. I said, but there's really 2 options, right? You could do a retail sale, which we all know is just, a regular listing, getting it on the market. But if you do that, I'm going to recommend that you do a lot of these fix-ups up front. Like first starting with curb appeal, making sure the grass is done, making sure that we get these broken windows fixed. We have to remove the writing and the drawing on the side of the home, inside the home. Right? These are things that we have to take care of. The kitchen floor was rotted out. They had mold down in the basement that, again, I'm not an inspector, but I told them that my experience says that we should definitely get pre-inspection done. There might be some in the attic, might be some more in the basement. So we'll go through the whole thing. So we estimate it, and it's like $40,000, right? $50,000 of repairs that they'd have to probably do just to get it on the market. just to even come close to some of the comparable comps, because the rest of the neighborhood looks great, right? Pride of ownership throughout the rest of the neighborhood. So we go ahead and I said, so that's the retail option. And I could just tell by their face and how they looked, like there's no way that's gonna happen. So I said, the other option is we could do a wholesale option. And they said, well, what's that? I says, well, it's similar to like trading in your car, right? If you had a car that was worth, let's just say in Kelley Blue Book, right? You have a car, you want to trade it in, and you look up what the retail value is. Maybe it's worth $10,000, right? You can sell it for $10,000. But if you trade it into a dealership, they're gonna buy it at 70 or 80 cents on a dollar. Why? Because, you know, maybe they have to put new tires on it. Maybe they have to, you know, take some of the dents out of the car. Maybe they have to, you know, go through and give it a motor job, whatever. You never know the situation. But my point is that they have to guarantee it. They have to warranty it. And I don't know if warranty it is a word, but have to put a warranty on it. And they still have to make a profit. So in real estate, we have what they call investors, and it's someone that would come in and buy it from you at a wholesale price. And they would actually come in, they would take a look at what needed to be done, and they would factor in their profit just like a dealer would, and then they would sell it, right? But again, you're only going to get maybe 70, 80 cents on the dollar is top in order for that to happen. But what an investor would do is that they would come in, you basically take out all your personal belongings that you want to keep, whatever is left, whatever garbage you have, whatever furniture you have, whatever clothes you have that you don't want, toys, etc. Just leave it in the house. Leave it in the house. The investor will take care of it. All you do is you take your personal belongings that you want to keep and you leave, and you get a check in 30 days. So they both gleamed with, you know, like this smile, not really a smile, but you could just tell their energy just turned, and like, that's what we want. That's what we want. We want to be done with this. We don't want to, you know, have to waste our time. We don't have the money to do these repairs. No one's going to do the repairs, and it's just going to delay this whole divorce. So I said, okay. So, you know, there's a bunch of investors that I use over the years. One that I highly recommend is a good friend of mine. His name is Jeff Miller. Known Jeff for over 20 years. He has a ton of years in the banking. That's how I met him. Who's since went on his own and is a full-time investor. Does a great job, very fair, very trustworthy, very ethical, and is someone that I trust. So I gave them that name as an option. And I said, you know, he can come over and take a look. Let's just kind of run it by him and see. So that's what Jeff did. Next day he was out. Jeff did an estimate, took a look at everything, gave them an offer, and they said, that is great. That's generous, and we'd be more than happy to move forward with that offer. So we're able to list the property and bring that in. Now, from a standpoint of, from a real estate perspective, what I wanted to share with you is that we did list the property with that original seller. So we were able to double end, if you would, that listing, right? We're actually just charged for the buyer's side. It's really what we did in this situation. And they paid our fee, because we do get paid as well. We don't get any money from, you know, the investor portion. And now what's going to happen is Jeff's going to fix this property. And because we brought him the deal, he's going to go ahead and list that property back with us, all clean, all the landscaping done, all the, you know, the roof being done, the windows fixed, all the siding is going to be replaced, the mold is going to be done, the kitchen's going to be repaired and remodeled, the hardwood floors are going to be all done, and everything's going to be done, and it's going to be, I don't want to say showroom condition, but it's definitely going to be at a condition where now they can get top dollar for that property. And we're going to be able to list that property. So the benefit there is that the seller is happy, so it's a win-win for them. They're going to be able to now, you know, get their home, which they just closed on it the other day, so that they can pay off whatever debts that they have and move on in their lives. The investor's happy because he was able to get a piece of property that he can make a profit on. And ourselves as real estate agents, we're happy because not only did we make money on the initial sale, but we're also going to get the listing to be able to list it moving forward. So the wholesale retail concept works very, very well. And some agents I see still out there still trying to force it, right? See, letting people know, hey, you got to borrow this money, or you got to get these fix-ups, or I'm not going to list your property unless you do all these things. And then what happens is the house sits there, or worse yet, they go with another agent who knows the retail and wholesale option and does exactly what I did and gets the listing and takes it away from someone else that didn't know how to explain that, right? And there's really, and Jeff actually mentioned this to me way back, and I remember it. He said that in investors, what they look for is they look for the 3 Ds of investing, right? Those 3 Ds are situations where the sellers are the most motivated to move on a property. And it really is a solution as an investor coming in and buying their property for them, because they have no other options, right? They don't want to go through the pain and misery of doing all the repairs, being out of town, not knowing contractors, sitting there and getting all this work done, only to sometimes over improve their property, or worse yet, just don't sell their property, put all this money in and lose a ton of money in putting money into the property that they shouldn't have done. So what happens in a scenario is that a lot of these sellers find investors, like in this situation, to actually come in and buy these properties. And that's exactly what happened here. And I definitely highly recommend anyone that's out there looking at homes that are out there, always look at both scenarios, right? See if it's a wholesale option, see if it's a retail option. Let's face it, 9 out of 10 times, you're gonna put the house on the market, especially in a deep seller market that we're in now, and it's gonna sell pretty quickly. But there's certain situations that sellers need that solution. So the 3 Ds, going back to that. First D, let's just say it's debt. Sometimes people get into a lot of debt. They owe credit cards, they owe, money. They haven't paid their mortgage, they lost their job, whatever the situation may be. Their only asset is the equity in their home. So in order for them to move forward, they need to sell. So that's where an investor plays a part of coming in and being able to buy that property from them and being able to get that equity or some of that equity out of that property very quickly. The second one is death, right? Sometimes I've had that scenario many times where I've been called in and it's an estate situation where maybe grandma or grandpa died, or a mom and dad died, whatever the situation may be, leaves it to the kids. They don't want the property, they just want to get it sold. They don't want to do all the fix-ups, they don't want to go clean everything out. So by hiring an investor to come in and do what I just explained to you, it's much more of an advantage to them than them having to do all those things, right? So that's the second one. And then the third one, divorce, which is the scenario and the example that I just gave you. A lot of times you can't get both parties to be on the same page. You have one that's playing games, they use the house as a pawn, and it just becomes uglier and uglier. So a lot of times that investor situation or that wholesale option works a lot better. So that's basically it. So I just wanted to share that with you, really to help agents that may not know about those options, may not know how to explain it. Like I mentioned before, the whole trading in your car, you may, like I said, be able to trade that in or sell it retail wise for 10 grand, but maybe you can only get $7,000 or $8,000 when you trade it into a dealer, because they have to do all those fix-ups like I mentioned before, right? If you explain it that way, most people understand it. It's the same thing with your home. You may not be able to get, say, $300,000, but maybe you can get, a certain percentage of that. Maybe you're going to get $200,000 out of it, right? But out of that $200,000, you may still have equity to help you do the things you have to do without having to sit on that property and wait for a potential buyer to come in, because it's very risky if you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what type of fix-ups to do in order to get top dollar for your property. So that's it. So scroll down below if you like this video, make a comment, give a thumbs up, share this with who you may know. This is usually being sent out to my list of real estate agents across the country. And if you like what you see, scroll down below, leave a comment, and let's go get them this week.